It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
And welcome everybody to Portland. From my hotel room, I overlook the hills and the beautiful Columbia River, the sun, early morning glistening off the water. It's a very pretty sight. It reminds me of my old radio days, not that far removed. Those early mornings trying to get as much caffeine as I possibly can get in. It's 8 o'clock here. It was a long road for the Tigers last night. A little balance and weight adjustment, a couple of hour delay, about a 7.5 hour trip in that airplane for many of us. But we're here. And we're ready. The Grizzlies were obviously ready last night against the Pacers, even without Ja. They led by as many as 43. They win 135-102. They're now 48-22, a half a game ahead of the Golden State Warriors, who, by the way, will be playing tonight against the Boston Celtics. That'll be a fantastic game to watch between the NIT and everything else as we get ready for the NCAA tomorrow. Guess who's coming to Memphis, J-Mo?
Who is that?
Well, really, there's two things that are coming. First, because of Ja, because of the Grizz being 48-22, because Brooklyn will be coming on March 23rd. The NBA Countdown Show, which is kind of like the version of Game Day, right?
Stephen A. Smith.
NBA. Stephen A. Smith, Screamin' A. Smith, is going to be in town. That is a big deal for sure. And the Nets are going to be here. What a game that will be on March 23rd. So ESPN giving even more notoriety to this Grizzlies team that is, 7 wins away from tying the all-time franchise record. 8 away with 12 to go. So if they play at the pace they've been playing all year, they will break the record for the most wins in a single season, but the schedule gets a little bit tougher. Guess who else is coming to town, J-Mo?
Who's that?
Come on. What is your favorite sport to participate in?
Basketball. I'm not sure.
No.
Monster
now you're
truck.
old. You
Monster
can't
truck
play
rallies.
basketball like
I don't
you
know.
used to play.
Oh, golf.
Golf. What organization, even though it was started by a U of M alum, what organization has absolutely turned its back on the city of Memphis?
What? I'm not sure. What is the organization?
J-Mo, this has been very difficult for me to take over the last few years. I've complained about this, and I've complained about this. No Topgolf. Birmingham's got Topgolf. We're maybe getting Topgolf, although I have to say I'm not sure about the location. You know, I loved it when I heard it might be down on Mud Island. I really did, because there's so much action going on downtown. Young people that I would think would be the demographic that is perfect for this. The new Lakeland district. You know, there's a bunch of golf courses around that area. That sort of kind of makes sense to me. But no, apparently they're going to put this, if this is indeed all true, this is what the Daily Memphian is reporting. You know those old polo fields that are on Germantown Road?
I watched polo there.
It used to be very rural area between Poplar Pike and Winchester. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. I've watched polo there before when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
That is the site that they're talking about putting the Topgolf. Obviously there's enough room there, and it might be part of an even bigger thing, because Topgolf is now doing miniature golf stuff too, that is supposed to be really cool. But so this may be an overall big project with a lot of stores and a whole new entertainment district, for all I know, that they're going to try to do. It's on the land of Melanie Smith. You know what? Melanie Smith was a nationally recognized equestrian star from Memphis. I did the Germantown Horse Show with her a couple of years on television when we used to broadcast those on Channel 24, when Channel 24 was an ABC station. She's just a delightful lady. I had no idea she is such a land baron. But she owns so much land in that corridor, in that area by Germantown. Remember just a couple of, maybe a year ago, maybe it was just a year ago, where she announced that she was giving a lot of that land to UT Martin to use for their rodeo program, because they have one of the best, believe it or not. UT Martin has one of the top 10 rodeo programs in the United States. So she gave it to, something that she felt close to, and it was quite a bit of acreage. And now this apparently is going to be, and I don't know if she sells the land there or she's a partner in all this, but apparently Topgolf is going to go on that site. We'll have to wait for further developments. I've always thought if you put it in the right place, it would work. I would hate for this to be not working because it is not in the area that you would want. Give me your sense of, do you think that's the place? Do you think Topgolf works in Memphis?
I think Topgolf works probably anywhere it's put in, honestly, because it's great for, I'm sure this is in their copy for their slogan too. It's good for people that golf and people that don't golf. Everybody can enjoy Topgolf. So I think it works no matter where it goes. But, I mean, as somebody that currently lives in the outside the city limits and lives in Collierville, convenient for me out east. So I like that. And honestly, probably convenient for not only all parts of town like in Shelby County, but people, it's a destination maybe for people outside of the Shelby County itself. So I think probably convenient for everybody, but certainly you'd like to see it within the city limits. It's within the Birmingham city limits. It's within the Nashville city limits, I believe. So you'd like to see it in Memphis, but good for me in Collierville.
The Birmingham thing is on the outskirts of downtown. It's by hotels and a convention center, and there's enough of an entertainment district around that it made a lot of sense to me to put it where it is. I have no idea how successful it is there. Their population would be a little bit limited, much like Memphis is, I think, with the amount of people that might play golf. But it's more than golf. I mean, this is a social thing for younger people, a dating kind of place, fun kind of place. I find it really cool, and I'm glad Memphis will get a chance to get it. I felt slighted. I felt hurt that we haven't had one. Now, apparently, that is behind us. We've got a busy show today. We're going to talk with Stats Norsworthy. Jarvis Greer will join us at the end of the program, as he always does on Wednesdays. And we'll talk a lot about the Tigers and making the NCAA tournament. I don't know if you have seen this, but there is a story. Our friend Jason Munz, who will be with us on Friday, provided travel is accommodating. He's written a story about Penny. 30 years ago, 1992, the Tigers got all the way to the Elite Eight. They had some major wins that year over Arkansas, of which I broadcast one. It was my entree into ESPN when I did the game with Jim Valvano. And then they played in the NCAA tournament. They won that game. But Cincinnati was a thorn in the side of the Tigers. I mean, a thorn in the side of Memphis. Couldn't beat them. Every time they played 4 times. Home and home, conference championship game, and then in the Elite Eight. The worst part of it all was each time the Tigers lost, it was by a bigger margin. They had Memphis's number. Memphis just couldn't stop, just could not stop Nick Van Exel. He was too good. Herb Jones was a sinewy 6'4" guy. He played the D on Penny, shut him down. Tony Madlock had a hard time with Van Exel trying to stop him and stay in front of him. They were physical. They were tough. They were tougher than Memphis. They were mentally tougher, I hate to say it, than the U of M was that year. And you had great players. You had Anthony Douglas and Billy Smith. You had David Vaughn on that team. That was an incredible team. And everybody was taking a walk down memory lane with Jason Munz. He did a terrific job with that story. Please go look at that. I think you will enjoy it. Also, there are pictures, like a gallery of 35 pictures in there. And the most amazing thing, I don't know how he does it. I really don't. And I'm gonna ask Brett Norsworth if he agrees with me. But if you go and look at the pictures in that story, there's a picture because they honored that season Elliot Perry. and gave him his jersey, and they framed it. It was not like his senior night, but I think they were retiring his number or putting up something. And there was a picture of him and Larry Finch and Charlie Cavanero's out there. And then there's just one picture of him holding his framed uniform. And you look at him, I swear to you, J-Mo, look at that picture. And then if you can find a picture or you see Elliot Perry at a Grizzlies game now, he's not changed. In 30 years, it's the most amazing thing. I've never seen a guy look the same like he does. I'll tell you, Andre Turner is pretty close, but Elliot Perry, in my estimation, is the new Dick Clark. He never, ever gets old. It's amazing. Go look at those pictures. Crazy stuff.
I have a theory about this, Dave, and it's not to throw any shade on Elliot Perry at all, but he looked very mature at a young age. And so now that he's aged a little bit and gets older, the trick to looking young when you're old is to look old when you're young. That's my philosophy.
Huh. I'm going to have to let that hit me. I got to let that sink in to see if I buy that.
And maybe I'm just optimistic because I'm losing my hair at such a young age that maybe I feel like I'll look young when I'm old.
Well, I will say this, Elliot, Penny Hardaway, and this is mostly about Penny. Penny certainly doesn't look old, but look at the pictures of Penny. Like, he's the skinniest kid in the world in 1992. Look at him now, and you go, okay, this dude, it's 30 years ago. Not that he looks old, but it's 30 years ago.
Right.
I'm telling you, look at Elliot Perry, and you're just saying, what? How can that possibly be? It is absolutely amazing in my mind. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Tigers and the Broncos, especially since I am not going to be on the air with you guys tomorrow because I will be en route to the stadium. This is a pretty good basketball team. They are having the best season they have ever had. They've won their conference tournament, the Mountain West, for the first time ever. They had 27 wins for the first time ever. They had 15 conference wins for the first time ever. On neutral courts, they're amazing. They are 6-1. Leon Rice has faced Memphis before. Won in the NIT last year, which Memphis won, as you all know, by 3, 59-56. But he was an assistant at Gonzaga for 6 years. He faced Memphis 6 times, won 4 of the 6 games, so he's familiar with the Memphis sort of style of basketball, although it's a little different. I think the first time he faced him, John Calipari was the coach. The last time he faced him, Josh Pastner was the coach. So things changed a little bit for sure, but he's very familiar, and he's been amazing. In the 12 years he's been there, he's had 9 20-win seasons, okay? That's pretty good. He's also been the coach of the year, like he is this year, 4 times. So a third of the times that he's been at Boise, he's been the coach of the year. It's amazing. This, by the way, is the best seeding they have ever had. This is their 8th appearance in the NCAA. It is the best seeding they've ever had. J-Mo, you know how many wins they've had?
3.
Zippo.
No, 0.
That scares me.
They're due.
Law of averages, right? You're going to win one of these things.
I actually did hear that stat. 0-7 so far, right, in the tournament?
0-7 in the NCAA. But think about it. They're the 8th seed here. That's the best seed they've ever had. And the 8th seed against the 9th seed is pretty much a 50-50 proposition. And that's the best they've ever had. So they've been in a position where they're the underdog, supposed to lose every time they've made the tournament. But this is a good team. It's a better team than the one Memphis faced last year. It's lost its best scorer, but a guy who was supposed to play last year, Abu Kijab, who, that sounds Middle Eastern, doesn't it? But he's actually from Canada, out of St. Catharines, Ontario. It started at Oregon. He's a good player. Here's the thing. They've got good players. Emmanuel Lacotte we saw last year. Yeah. Marcus Shaver is a good player. They got a guy in the middle named Emladin Armush, and he's from Serbia. He started at East Tennessee State. They have 4 seniors that start that are all fifth-year guys that are all transferred from somewhere. So they got a lot of experience. They're an older team. They start 1 freshman who replaced a senior who was a good player for them last year, and I don't know, I think he got kicked off the team. He had actually started at Arizona, so he's had problems all along the way, but he's out of the picture. But the bottom line is they play all those guys 30 minutes, and they're big. And they're smart, and they play together. They share the ball well, but they just don't score very well. They're not that athletic. And Akot, Shaver, and Kejab, those 3 guys are the ones that have the ball in their hands almost all the time. The problem for them is they're not all that athletic, and they turn the ball over. Even though they got a little slight negative ratio. It's not like they turn it over all the time. Only 12 turnovers.
Force a lot though.
But they hold the ball a lot. Here's my thing. Those 3 guys are apt to turn the ball over. They have not seen pressure like Memphis is all year long.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that. But another thing I was looking at too is they're an excellent defensive rebounding team. And that's one area Memphis is really good at is offensive rebounding. But Boise State only allows about 21%, so like 1 out of every 5 misses. And that's 5th in the country, 5th best in the country right there at that number. So Boise State a really good rebounding team.
So what you got here is top 5 defensive rebounding against top 10 offensive rebounding.
Yeah.
So the boards become a critical key. But Memphis has hung on the boards with almost everybody, especially since Duren has progressed. Duren is averaging over 8 rebounds in the last 5 games. I mean, he's really come on. He's become a force. And I'm not sure that Armouche is going to be able to keep up with him. I just don't think their athleticism is good enough to handle Memphis's pressure and to stop them on the boards. Now, they're skilled, and they do defend. It's not going to be easy for Memphis to score. I don't think it will. And Memphis can't turn the ball over. No. And Memphis has had a penchant this year to not value possessions.
Absolutely.
So those turnovers on both sides will be critical to the game. Memphis is going to have to get them. And that was one thing in the 2 Houston wins. Memphis turned Houston over a bunch. In the one loss to Houston, it was Houston who turned over Memphis. And Memphis, their press, they knew it. But that was the 3rd time they'd seen it. This team has not seen it yet.
No kidding. I'm honestly very interested to see. Pressing an NCAA tournament is tough. Sometimes you can catch teams off guard with not a lot of days of preparation. But like you said, if a team is really dissecting it well and making those passes, it becomes tough to defend. So those are 2 factors I'm looking at is rebounding and turnover, and you just hit on both of those.
Well, and, there's common opponents, Temple, St. Louis, Tulsa, and one other team, and I'm trying to remember who it is. And Memphis was 4-1 against those teams, or 3-1, and they were 3-1.
You said St. Louis?
They beat Ole Miss too. They beat Ole Miss,
right.
But they lost to St. Louis. Memphis beat St. Louis, but Memphis lost to Ole Miss. So there's the swap, and they both were able to knock off Temple and. Let's see.
Tulsa.
Tulsa is the other one. Temple and Tulsa. So, it's a close game. Look, 8-9 games are 50-50. The Tigers, that line started at 1.5. Last time I saw it, it went up to 2.5. I think the Tigers' athleticism is going to be the difference in the game because I don't think Boise State has really faced that kind of speed and tenacity. I really don't. I don't think it'll be a blow-up by any means, and I think Leon Rice a heck of a coach. But I do think Memphis is the favorite in this game, and then we could talk about Gonzaga on another day. Incidentally, this is the very first collegiate game. Rodney Hamilton, Memphis's director of operations, but also assistant coach since Rasheed Wallace is out, ever played in was against Gonzaga. And I think he was playing against Pargo, if you remember that name.
Oh, yeah.
This is a while ago. And they were a good team. And, apparently he was really proud of himself. He said, oh, man, I had like 8 assists. And my coach was really, really pleased with that. But then he said, but you've turned the ball over more times than you had assists because they were tough.
Negative
they were tough.
ratio.
And this team, will be tough. Exactly. All right. Broncos and Tigers, that'll be tomorrow. It will be at 12:45 Memphis time, 10:45 early here. And already this has sort of been a bumpy trip, but that's the way the whole year, I swear to you, the whole year has gone that way so far. I'll let you know I am sitting in the Family Leisure Studios on the West Coast. I never realized, did you know that Portland to Memphis is like 1,500 miles?
Wow.
Long time. Long trip. There is a longer trip. Seton Hall had to go somewhere further. I forget where they were going, but this is a long trip. But heck, we take the Family Leisure Studio wherever we go because we like Family Leisure, and you will like Family Leisure, and you know spring is here, right? And you know the newest thing is outdoor spaces, and I think we all decided we loved outdoor spaces because of the pandemic, because we could have friends come over with a heater and enjoy each other's company outside. And so now it's gotten even bigger. Well, it started with grills and outdoor TVs and patio areas becoming an extension of the house, but it's gotten even bigger, I think, because of the pandemic. And they've got good prices right now on outdoor spaces. Start with your grill. Go with the bull. That's what I've got. I mean, they're terrific. Great prices on so many things, even like the trampolines. The newest technology in these trampolines is amazing to me because they're safer. Instead of just having the tramp, now they've got those mesh things around it so you can't jump out and get hurt that way. I think it's terrific, safe, and you'll be a hero of your neighborhood if you get it. That's Family Leisure. You can't come here to get it. You got to go to I-40 and Wooden Road. See my friends. Am I mentioning my friends? Up next, the one and only Brett Norsworthy. He's right around the corner on Wolo and Friends.
You have opinions?
Like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Hi, friends. I'm Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and for 5 decades, we've been the personal jeweler to thousands of Memphians and Mid-Southerners. For many, many years, we've been offering the finest and beautiful jewelry to help our customers celebrate those very special occasions and let their loved ones know just how treasured they are. Diamonds and gemstones are our specialty, and set in whatever she wants, a ring or a pendant, a pair of earrings or a bracelet. We search the world's most fabulous jewelry markets, looking for pieces that are not only exquisite and beautiful, but that are also unique and eye-catching. We can help you make her smile in a way that neither one of you will ever forget. Come see us at Russell Brothers Jewelers. Let us put our many years of experience to work for you. Let us help you say, I love you in the most wonderful way you can imagine. 5 decades providing beauty, value, quality, and service. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkham for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. Lots of vehicles to choose from at Sunrise. Trucks, SUVs, certified late model used cars, and cars under $10,000. At Sunrise, we specialize in low monthly payments and secondary financing. Come on in, call, or go online to sunrisememphis.com. Schedule an appointment, select your vehicle, appraise your trade-in, arrange financing and delivery. We'll deliver right to your doorstep. All cars inspected and ready to go. Need service or body work? Bring it to Sunrise or go online to schedule an appointment. Sunrise, Covington Pike, Wolfchase, and Collierville.
For years, I have talked to you about James Davis, the finest men's store in all of Memphis, the service, the selection, everything that goes with quality. And I've told you recently about the Stant Perfect Fit shirts. Well, now there's the Stant Perfect Fit pants. Absolutely amazing. Only 2 measurements fed into a computer, and all of a sudden, you've got the perfect fit pants. I'm talking everywhere. The leg, the seat, the bottom, all made to fit your body absolutely perfectly. And there's 80 different fabrics to choose from. You will find the right look, the right fit, almost instantaneously. They start at $162, but you will never find a better pair of pants than these at James Davis Men's Store. And the shirts are still there, and guess what? It's the only place in Memphis that you can find Stant. That's the James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Thank you, Brett. We are here and we're making it. I have to say a big thank you to all of our customers that ordered food during the curbside days, bought gift certificate when times were slow, ordered food to be shipped from our shipping kitchen, and then came back down to eat when our doors reopened. We owe a debt to the Memphis and surrounding community for supporting us when we need it. I hope y'all all come eat some barbecue with us, but I also hope you'll support our local restaurants. And if your service is a little slow or an item isn't on the menu that you enjoy, cut them a little slack. Hopefully it'll be there soon.
Thank you, John. We appreciate you for feeding all of us, and we will take that advice to heart.
Brett, we also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Homer Skelton is our presenting sponsor. We're so proud to have them with us. And as the car business starts to really crank back up and computer chips become more available, more cars are coming in. Some dealerships have exploited that particular aspect and taken advantage of the shortage. Supply and demand, right? Not Homer Skelton Hyundai. Chris True, their GM, and you know where this place is. First exit in Mississippi, Craft Road, right there on Highway 78. That's Lamar in Memphis. Turn left, go see Chris. He tells you this. He pledges this. You'll never pay more than sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Conway. That's Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and the famous Super Tune-Up, the 16-point energy tune-up that will make sure your system lasts longer and your MLGW bill is lower. I always say you get one in the winter with the safety inspection, and then they do the carbon monoxide test so you rest easy, and then one to make sure everything is working when the hot summer comes. They do it in spring right now to make sure your air conditioning system works so you're not sweating it out. And again, your system lasts longer if you get it tuned up twice per year. It's simple. It's only $69, and all you got to do is call 384-3511, 384-3511. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. Our friend Brett Norsworthy joins us now. I'm sure by now you've seen that Buzz Williams rant about how Texas A&M not getting in the tournament is, as he says, defies logic. Should the SEC, Brett, have gotten more than 6 teams into the tournament?
No, they shouldn't have. Good morning, Dave. Even if Texas A&M had gotten in, I think it probably should have been to the omission of Alabama. 6-6 was what I thought was warranted, and I'm frankly tired of hearing Texas A&M whine.
Did you think the Big Ten deserved 9 teams in?
Probably not, but all year that was pretty much the designation for them, and last night Indiana certainly held up their end of the bargain. Have you ever seen Indiana so happy to be in Dayton at the first 4? I mean, that program with that history, all those titles, a long time ago now for most of those titles, most recent coming in 1987. Keith Smart was the winner that year. He's now an assistant at Arkansas, but Indiana very happy to be in Dayton. And I think Michigan very fortunate to be in the tournament and not go through Dayton.
It goes to show you in my mind when you talk about Indiana that you got to have a coach. And we may have already said this. I can't remember which show I talked about this, but more and more, we saw this. This has been coming for 30 years, where a kid doesn't sign necessarily with a school anymore. There are a few instances where dad played there. There's legacy. Granddad played there. North Carolina probably has plenty of those. Okay, Duke might have a few, but the truth is, in this day and age, you sign with a coach who plays the style that you think is the best to get you to be a pro. And Indiana made some mistakes along the way. And one of those mistakes, I hate to say it, and at the time it might have been right, was Kelvin Sampson. I mean, Kelvin Sampson made illegal phone calls. He did it twice. He got caught. and they felt like they had to let him go. I mean, this is Indiana, right? And look what Kelvin Sampson has done at Houston. And they have been in the wilderness until, as you just said, they were celebrating being in Dayton.
Yeah, I mean, I've just never seen a proud IU program like that. But sometimes the bar gets lowered. But Dave, I think the Indiana misfires in the hiring goes back to when they really buckled to the locker room pressure and kept Mike Davis off the heels of that good run to the Final Four. No doubt a good run, but they let the locker room hire a coach. You don't ever do that. You never let the locker room hire a coach because they always hire a buddy, somebody that really doesn't have that gravitas. And I was talking yesterday on our show with Gabe Kuhn on Sports Time about there was a time where Memphis was light years ahead of Gonzaga, and the slow creep of Gonzaga catching and zooming past Memphis, it happened because they had consistency. They had a tour de force at head coach in Coach Mark Few, and Memphis, frankly, just absolutely missed it on two hires in a row in Josh Pastner and Tubby Smith.
Yeah, and Mark Few has been fantastic. He has, and he has a unique way of recruiting. I mean, he was doing this without McDonald's All-Americans. He was getting kids from Australia for a while. He's gotten kids from Canada. He's an interesting guy, and his system is disciplined, and they play well together. And now, because they've elevated themselves, they've gotten guys like Chet Holmgren, who was the number one prospect. And I sure hope, Brett, we have a chance to see Duren and Williams, that front court, against Timmy and Holmgren. Wouldn't that be fun on Saturday if Memphis is able to get past Boise?
Dave, it would be, and that's what you want. I think that's what the NBA scouts want to see. They want to see Holmgren with that slender frame and go up against the more brawny Jalen Duren, and how Duren played in Fort Worth with 37 rebounds, an AAC record, and he had a powerful impact on those games and was in foul trouble in the SMU game, but he came on strong. But it gets going tomorrow. Gets going for the Tigers tomorrow. Gets going for 3 SEC teams go tomorrow, 2 local. Tennessee against Longwood in kind of mid-afternoon. Kentucky and St. Peter's to start the night session. And then Arkansas in Buffalo against a tough Vermont team. That is a hard matchup for Arkansas. I think they'll win, and I think they'll get over the 5 points. But that'll be a game with 2.5 minutes to go that might feel very uncomfortable.
I'm with you. I saw that line, so it must have gone up because it was at 4.5 when I saw it, and I'm thinking, my gosh, I think it is an interesting matchup. I don't think Arkansas is going to blow them out by 20, but I would have said 4.5 or now 5. I like the Hogs in that one. I want to get to Tennessee in just a second, but you mentioned CBS, and CBS has picked out 7 teams, and I don't know what how they do this or what their rationale is that they're following. Memphis is one of them. So just a little behind the scenes thing for folks. The Tigers plane had 4 CBS production people, cameramen and production people on the plane. During the American Athletic Conference tournament, they were taking a stream of our call of the games to intersperse it with what I don't know if they're doing this for the NCAA, if they're doing it for a documentary for CBS Sports. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing, but they're following 7 teams, and Memphis is one of them. So they must feel like Memphis is going to get past the 8-9 game, and then it will be that real great showdown with Gonzaga if they're able to pull that off. I've got a buddy who's really good with analytics, and He's got some biases, but he puts those biases aside. And he works his formula out to do his bracket. And he swears to me, he's done it 3 times, when he does all the numbers, the champion of this year's NCAA is going to be the Tennessee Volunteers. You and I had talked about their inside game a little bit, not being as strong as I think a national champion would have. But there's plenty of brackets that have the Vols winning the national title. What do you think of that?
It's interesting, and it really should be a go-for-it year for Tennessee, but it definitely is a prove-it year for Rick Barnes. Rick Barnes has kind of been Mr. Early March instead of late March. He's never been around except for that 1 year at Texas in 2003, now a long time ago, and at Texas around for the Final Four. I have Tennessee losing in the Elite Eight to Arizona in the top right bracket in the South. Against the Gonzaga protege and Tommy they trust now at Arizona. But I got Rick Barnes at least advancing to the Elite Eight. Anything other than a Sweet 16 for Rick Barnes, the criticism should rain down on him. No, not fired, not at all. But when are you going to really advance? Because, for all the derision and all the stuff the Tennessee fans like to give the Tigers and about the term all the smoke, Where's some smoke? Where's some flame with Tennessee?
I have Tennessee losing to Villanova in the Sweet 16, but I get them at least there. And every team's got flaws. So who really knows the way this whole thing will work out? You mentioned coaches and firings. 5 coaches now gone in the SEC, and one moving over. Mike White from Florida to Georgia just ahead of the posse. Any of these firings or moves surprise you?
Well, I thought the Mike White news was stunning. To leave Florida, I think certainly in the top 2 or 3 in the SEC in current jobs and in history with the back-to-back that Billy Donovan had in 06 and 07. And it's a Florida job that doesn't have a lot of turnover. Dave, it's really gone most of the last 40 years, from Norm Sloan to Lon Kruger to Billy Donovan to Michael White. Don DeVoe had kind of the interim year in there, but that's been a job that it hadn't been a lot of turnover. And for him to up and leave for Georgia, now I think Georgia's getting a better basketball coach than they just lost in trading Tom Crean for Michael White. But if Michael White can't win anything big at Florida, how's he going to do it at Georgia? And we keep getting the same text to every show from the same texter talking about, and I don't know exactly the mileage, 85 miles, whatever it is. The same texter texts every day on the AutoZone text line. It's 85 miles from Atlanta. Well, guess what? It's been 85 miles from Atlanta forever, and they've never done anything with it.
Which is shocking. Frank, I don't understand how Georgia does not excel in basketball. I really do not. With, as he says, you're on the fringe of the Atlanta market, and it is a lovely place to be. The facilities, the stadium is not a brand new stadium, but it's been refurbished. It looks good. I don't understand how you don't win there. To me, it's really easy to understand why Mike White made the move. I think if Ole Miss had offered him, he would have made the move. This is the truth. Yeah, I think he had to reset his clock because he only had one more year left with Florida. And if he didn't turn it around, he's out of there. It's like Seth Greenberg at South Florida. He was a year or 2 away from getting run out of Tampa, and my God, the heavens opened, and he found a place in Blacksburg.
Yeah. A kind of a Stan Haithian move when Stan Haith got out of Mizzou and got the reset at Tulsa. It was a smart play by Michael White, whose dad certainly knows the industry, and he knows it, and he's a good coach. But if you can't win at Florida, how are you going to win at Georgia?
Well, we'll see. That'll be fun to watch. All right, last thing for you. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the story Jason Munns, our friend, has written on the 92 Tigers. I said this earlier. I swear to you, look at the pictures if you haven't already. Take a look at Elliot Perry. There's a great shot of him in their gallery of he's holding the frame. I think it's of his retired jersey. Look at that picture 30 years ago. Look at him now. I mean, there's Madlock. You see pictures of him. You see pictures of Penny, obviously this really skinny little kid. Not little. He's still 6'4" or 5 or 6, whatever the heck he is. But look at Elliot Perry. I swear to you, he does not look one day older. He looks exactly the same.
Dave, I think I tell you that every time I walk into FedEx Forum and see him. It does look like just in the playing days for Socks, for Chuck. Elliott had a lot of nicknames, but I remember that 91-92 season well. And, Dave, we remember how very badly Arkansas wanted that rematch with Memphis in Milwaukee after that great 92-88 game at the Pyramid. But because of some travel issues, you made it on ESPN Classic doing that game. I think that day was Jimmy Valvano.
No, not travel issues. John Saunders got laryngitis.
Oh, okay. And you did it with Jimmy B, didn't you?
I did it with Jimmy V. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of my ESPN career.
Great game, great win for the Tigers. It really smarted with Razorback fans. That loss with that real good team that had gone to the Elite Eight the year before. That was Todd Day, Oliver Miller, Lee Bayberry. Got the rematch in Milwaukee, and Penny took care of them second time.
Yeah, well, everybody played good in that. I think you are always a better memory than me. I kind of remember Matlock hitting like 6 free throws in a row to ice that game away at the end. I mean, clutch free throws.
Well, Tony was a clutch player, and Tony had a good first year at South Carolina State. That was a lot of familiarity in that game because Todd Day was prominent on the Razorbacks and friends with all those guys from their upbringing in the Memphis basketball circles.
Yeah, no, those were fun times, that is for sure. But you could beat the Razorbacks twice, but you lost 4 times to the doggone Bearcats. Unbelievable.
Well, Nick Van Exel,
as you said to me earlier,
apex of Bob Huggins' career.
Oh yeah, I think that's right. And Bob was always lobbying, trying to save Larry Finch's job. I think he genuinely liked Larry, but I also genuinely think I want him around because I could beat him. I really do. You said a little earlier in the week how right you are. We've seen a lot over all these years, haven't we? We go back to those 30 years.
Well, Dave, I sent you that note about the Tigers on St. Patrick's Day, and that's tomorrow. And when I was looking at that, you have been and you have covered every single one of those except for the 73 game. Matt Dillon was at that one in 73 to beat Lon Kruger, and that was the game that really propelled the Tigers into the national limelight that they've enjoyed for these last 50 years. Beating Kansas State that day put them in the national semifinals the following Saturday against Providence, and really through 50 years now, come springtime, we've been able to enjoy this.
Well, I'm stealing your notes, but I appreciate that.
It's not stealing. Me casa, su casa, brother.
I love you for that. I will be talking with you again at 4 o'clock Memphis time, correct?
You sure will. Don't forget it. And I'll text you a reminder.
Okay. Hey, just one little technical thing I'll ask you while we're on the air. You want me to use the phone line, or should I use this tie-in?
We'll call your phone because I'll be on the equipment.
Okay. Very good. Wonderful. All right. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.
You got it. Be safe.
Thank you. That is our friend, Brett Norsworthy. He is brought to you by the good folks at Dinstall's. I love telling that story about Jim Nance and Bill Raftery and Becky Dinstall and her husband Charles Raphael last week. That was so much fun for them. And Jim Nance was so happy to get that candy. Well, everybody's happy to get that candy. And you can get that candy all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Nance started calling Becky Dinstall's cell phone and saying, I want you to send me that Cashew Crunch because I got kids and grandkids in Nashville now. He's got a house in Nashville, and it's real simple to get there. Just get it to me. Everybody falls in love with that signature candy, but it's strawberry time, and there's no better strawberries. And Becky was telling somebody the other day about how you make these strawberries and why they're so different than everybody else. And it's like a science. That fondant, which she can't tell you what's in there, or she'd have to kill you. In that fondant, it breaks down the strawberry and makes it even sweeter. They've got it down. They are Memphis's signature candy, and it's so easy. 5 different locations to find Dinstall's. My neighborhood, Laurelwood, Germantown, Collierville, downtown. Don't forget where they make the candy. That's Pleasant View. Oh, my goodness. 5 different places to be inspired and sweetened by Dinstall's. Let me pause. A sweet guy on his way. Our friend Jarvo. Jarvis Greer from Action News 5 comes your way in just a minute.
Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Presented by Tito's Vodka. From 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Are you overworked and underpaid in that employment rut with no promotion in sight, or did you just lose your job? Then you need to contact the experts at ProResume. Go to ProResume.biz or call 685-1950, the fastest way to a new job.
Hi, everybody. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. Start your bracket with a bang. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guaranteed. You'll get $150 in bonus site credit, and all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. How you bet the bracket is up to you. Plus, with Cash Out, you can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. Join FanDuel today with promo code GASMAN. Then you can place your $5 bet to score $150 in bonus site credit, guaranteed. You must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
So you're finally going back to work in your actual office in actual downtown Memphis. That means it's time to get back in the habit of making yourself happy by going to Happy Hour. And there's no better happy hour downtown than at 117 Prime. The executive happy hour at 117 Prime has it all. From $5 glasses of house wines to $5 craft cocktails, $3 domestics and local beers, paired with the best oyster bar anywhere in town and the happy hour specials from the best chefs in town. And you've got the recipe for the perfect happy hour. And the only place for the perfect happy hour every weekday is 117 Prime.
Swerving, speeding, and reckless driving can leave you in your own dust. Drag racing has its consequences. You can lose your driving privileges, your vehicle, face jail time, or even lose or take a life. So slow down, Memphis. The life you save may be your own. Brought to you by the Memphis Police Department, Traffic Operations.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
She's a good girl.
Always a pleasure to chat with my friend from Action News 5. That would be Jarvis Greer, who was working in 1992 when Penny Hardaway went to the Elite Eight. I know. You've been working forever, just like me. We've been around to see a whole bunch of stuff. This is exciting. I love your take on what you think will happen with the gun, with Boise here tomorrow morning. And then who do you think is going to win the national title this year? What does your bracket look like?
I have to be honest. I haven't had a chance to fill it out yet because we got HVAC to work with here at the house. So we've been dealing with them for, between going to work and then just staying up with them, trying to get this stuff figured out. But I think I don't want to go chalk. Heating and air. We got, the thing. Our system is like 6 years out of warranty. Our system is like 6
my
years
goodness.
Out of warranty.
Well, you should have gone and talked to my friends at Conway. You'd have been in great shape. Go ahead.
Well, we're doing all right, but no, I don't want to go with chalk because I don't want to put Gonzaga in there for reasons that you probably know why. But since you're right up there in Portland, but I think that first of all, you talk about Memphis and Boise State. I think this is not the same Memphis team as it was that played Boise State in the NIT last year, but I think this is a better Memphis team than what played Boise State. Boise State had one addition; they got a transfer in that's a really good player. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, so I won't do it. But he's a really good player.
Which one are you talking about? Because they have four guys that are transfers. Are you talking about Akat, Armouche, Kijab? Dejanart's a freshman, so it can't be him.
Well, it's the one that's like their leading scorer or among their leading scorers. I know
Kijab, Abu Kijab. Yeah. Uh-huh. He's a kid out of Ontario.
So neither one of these teams are replicas of what they were last year, but I just think that Memphis, when Memphis doesn't have any egregious turnovers and shoots decently, that they're about as good as anybody. So, and I would think, okay, they had their game after playing so well for so long, They had their game against Houston where they didn't play that. They didn't shoot that well. Put it that way. That's what Gene Bartow, the great Gene Bartow, used to say. You shoot bad, you look bad, no matter what else you do. The Tigers did not shoot well against Houston, and that's how that one ended up. So now I think they're ready to go on another run. And I think if it gets to the point where if it gets to, they'll get Gonzaga in that second round. Same thing. If Memphis doesn't have any egregious turnovers and shoots a decent percentage, they'll have as good a shot as anybody to beat them. I think that the talent matches up pretty well. Everybody talks about Chet Holmgren. I don't want to look by Boise State. I'm a one game at a time guy. You know that, 1-0. But I just think that there's enough talent on this Memphis team to when they click, as far as not turning it over, that they can challenge with anybody.
You've seen, I think, I know you didn't see the NCAA teams in the 50s, okay? Or the NIT team that's the most famous with Wilfong. But you've seen the 73 team. You've seen the 85 team. You saw the 08 team. You see these teams now, this team now, and I don't want to put them with the Final Four teams, especially at this moment. Mm-hmm. But which do you think was the best team that you ever saw in a Memphis uniform?
Well, that 72-73 team was tremendous. They had tremendous talent, and I don't want to take anything away from Bill Laurie. Little Bill Laurie is what we used to call him back then. He was the point guard on that now. I know.
I got to tell you a little quick story. Since you mentioned it, little Bill Laurie, he met your cohort, Cassie Carlson.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And bought her a drink, and it was so funny to see little Bill Laurie oogle and Cassie Carlson.
Well, Cassie's kind of tall too, so
she is.
He was definitely looking up. But no, that they did not really have any real weaknesses, and the 2008-9 team was as talented as any team ever, anywhere, and should have won the national championship were it not for a few free throw misses, because they were every bit as good or better than Kansas in that game. So those would be the two best teams. The 85 team was really, really good, but I just think that, Larry Keenan on that 72-73 team, he was a stud. He averaged 16 rebounds a game, 20 points and 16 rebounds a game, 16. And, and he scored on Bill Walton. Of course, Bill Walton was ultimately the greatest player, at that time, in that decade. But, and then Larry Finch averaged 24. He was an All-American. He was first team All-Tournament.
That team. You had Robinson, Finch, you had
Ronnie
and Keenan.
And then you had Billy Buford coming off the bench, who was a 6'7" guy who could, score in bunches and get you good rebounds, play good defense. They had pretty much all you want, and they didn't turn the ball over. And
the 85 team had a lot of pieces, though, including a great player. He didn't turn out to be a great pro because of injury, but Keith Lee with the little general and Doom Haynes and Bobby Parks, that's a heck of a team now.
Yeah, that is a heck of a team. And I think if you put them up, it would be hard pressed to say if you put those teams, those three Final Four teams, if you put them in together, who would come out. I kind of think that Larry Keenan, nobody could match up with him, and it's like there was nobody on either one of those teams that could match up. Even
you know what? It's a debate. It's literally a debate. It's a debate for another day, because then if we take into account 2008, you got a guy who was Rookie of the Year and the MVP in the league in Derrick Rose. You had a first-team All-American in CDR. You had a glue guy in Antonio Anderson. You had Dozier, who was great, and a muscle man in Dorsey. And, they should have won the national title. That all goes back to...
Yeah, they should have won it.
A bunch of different stuff. Anyway, that's a great debate for another day. My friend, as always, I appreciate it. And hopefully I'm talking to you on the road again next week.
Let's hope so, Dave. That would be tremendous. I'll be here for it.
Thank you, my friend. That is Jarvis Greer from Action News 5. He's brought to you by Old Dominic. That's the distillery in downtown Memphis, but it's a whole lot more. They're going to be pushing hard for the Tigers. They're the hometown partner of the Tigers when it comes to the distillery, right in the heart of downtown, with full distillery tours, curated tastings, and those wonderful craft cocktails. So if you go to their bar, which is elegant, not stuffy, you can get any of their products, or you can find their products elsewhere, like all over town, like the Spirit Shop, my friend Eddie Connor's place. He carries Old Dominick products. Old Dominick, they are really precise at what they do. And if you take the tour, you'll learn how they craft from grain to glass this incredible product. And the master distiller, Alex Castle, she's a genius, and she's got this bourbon that people are clamoring for, that she's holding on until it is absolutely right. She will not release it. Go check it out. You'll love it at 305 South Front Street, Old Dominick. J-Mo's going to take it all the way tomorrow as I'm in transit to the Rose Garden for the Tigers and for Boise State. Should be a lot of fun. Hopefully, I'll be talking to you again from Portland Friday morning. Johnny Radio is next. Have a great day, everybody.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years.